Hello again. I guess I'm making this a habit. um, I guess today the main thing I want to talk about is what is a Christian? You know, as far as I can tell, a lot of people outside of the church and even inside of the church don't really understand what it is, like what it means to be a Christian, even though you say you are one. When I was a New Age person, New Ager, whatever you want to call them, I still considered myself a Christian. But yet, when you're a Christian, you can't be doing that kind of stuff. And I'll explain that in a second. But the thing is that this world is this world is not our friend. And in most respects, it is our enemy. And this is just being honest here. You can use it out of context if you want, which I know you probably will. If you're listening to this and you're not a Christian, you wouldn't understand. But hear me out. This world and everything in it is looking to trap you. It's looking to bind you, put you in chains of sin, and in essence, use that sin to keep you from the main goal, which is salvation, which is knowing Christ and eventually being a part of the actual Christian family. And there's issues on both sides of the table. Jesus could not stand Pharisees. Now, what a Pharisee is a person so righteous, self-righteous, not godly righteousness, but self-righteous, that they think they're this world's a little slice of heaven. And there's a big difference between a righteous person and a repentant person. The world sees somebody that used to be a sinner, and they're like, "Oh, come sin with me," whatever that sin may be. And they're like, "No, I can't do it anymore." And they look at them as if they're self-righteous. But the thing is that they've actually had their eyes wide open. And they usually will want people and tell people to, try and stop them from sinning, because they understand how damaging, how destructive, and how deadly it actually is. A self-righteous person will, they'll damn people. They'll say, like, you're gonna burn in fire, and I can't wait to see it. Thinking that they're self-righteous. One of the greatest evangelists of all time, the Apostle Paul, was a Pharisee, and he himself said that he was a Hebrew of Hebrews. That if anybody could count themselves as righteous, he would be the one. He fit all the criteria. He lived his entire life trying to fulfill the Pharisee laws. He studied it. He lived it. And at the same time, at the very end, when he had his eyes opened, in a very literal sense as well as a spiritual, he realized how wrong he actually was. And there's nothing he could have done that was actually righteous enough to get to heaven. That's kind of the point. But the thing is that we have to realize the sins that we do. Now back to the main point. I wanted to emphasize the difference between self-righteous and repentant. A true Christian, all right, and it can be from any denomination. I'm not going to slander any of my brothers and sisters out there. Not the ones that are actually, looking at it the ones that are looking at sin the way that it is. The true Christian looks at their life and the sins that they have committed. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a lot of sin. It could be like, one event in their life that haunts them. And they wonder to themselves, why did I do that? What about me allowed for this to happen? Why is it that why wasn't I strong enough? Why wasn't I brave enough? Why couldn't I have taken the upper road? And it could have been something super, super small. But it still eats at them. And they realize that they are a sinner. That's step one. Step two is to realize that there's nothing you can do about it on your own. You can try as much as you want to get away from it, but the devil has a grip on you, and you really can't do much to break the chains. You commit the sin once, and you just allow yourself to fall in deeper and deeper sin. What are you gonna do? Call on Jesus. And I mean that in a very, very literal way. Jesus is not a figment of imagination. He's more real than you, more real than me, more real than all the grass and trees that you see everywhere. He is the very embodiment of life. When you reach the point of total destruction in your life, either from your own sins or other people's sins, and you're trying to recover from whatever it is, and it can even be from the sin of unforgiveness, because that is a sin as well. It can be the sin of unforgiveness for something somebody's done to you that is absolutely horrible. When you realize that you can't make it on your own, when you realize that you can't forgive that person on your own, and you cry out, you can be screaming at the top of your lungs, you could be screaming on the inside, wailing, crying. When you've had enough, Jesus will be there if you call on him. And it won't be, it won't be slow. It won't be slow at all. But what I'm trying to get at is that a true Christian understands this and has had that sort of experience. This is why I really push reading the Bible and praying, because the closer you draw to him, the closer he draws to you. The more you yearn to abide and walk with him, the more he'll abide and walk with you. the whole life and salvation thing, I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to go to hell. Lord knows I don't want to go to hell. But what really drives me, most of all, is, you know, I love Jesus. I love him more than I love myself. And a true Christian would say the same. Even married couples would say that their relationship goes from God to their spouse. Because they realize that as far as everything's concerned, without God, they can't have a healthy relationship. And that's why they last so long. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, it's the same kind of love. I really don't know as far as that one. But, you know, if you see a Christian couple that has been married for 30, like even if they're just married like 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and yet you see them in church, you see them in restaurants, you see them holding hands, and you ask them, how are you able to keep this marriage going? You know, they'll say a number of things. But one of the things that will usually be there is that, like, they'll say God brought them together. They'll say that they've known that they were supposed to be together for a very long time, and, you know, life just drawn them to it. That they've had sacrifices, but they've always fought for each other, and they've always prayed together. I'd like to underline that last one. They've always prayed together. Christians aren't self-righteous. Christians don't ever want to sin again. They've been down that road. They know where it leads. And I'm not saying that they'll never sin again. But they understand how destructive and dangerous sinning is. But even though they understand how dangerous it is, they still have to live in this world. And so they will do their best to keep themselves away from sin. And even sometimes it's even to the point of, you know, not going out to go drinking for some people. Sometimes it's even to the point of not, you know, doing the things that you used to do, that you used to love, because those things used to be drenched in sin. So if you're a sinner watching this, and you got a friend that turned to Christ, don't look down on them. Ask them who God is. They will tell you. And have an open mind. In fact, they were probably looking for the right opportunity to talk to you. They just don't know how to. If you miss your friends, talk to them. They'll love hearing from you either way, whether they turn to Christ or not. Your friends still love you. But they can't continue to do the things that they used to. So, just thought I should put that out there. I love you all. God bless.